India offers an oasis of opportunity with 1.4 billion people aspiring for a better quality of life, aspiring for the good things that we have missed out over the years. And the government over the last decade has focused itself on providing the basic amenities that are required by any person, by any family. We've ensured that no family is ever deprived of food, proper clothing, proper shelter, healthcare, education. We now have nearly 800 million internet users across the length and breadth of the country. 4G penetration is throughout the country. We've already launched 5G, and by the end of calendar 23, most of the main cities in India would be covered by 5G digital connectivity. We've been able to take broadband across the remotest parts of India into the villages. We have electricity available throughout the country with a national grid connecting every part of the country so that electricity can flow seamlessly and be available 24/7 throughout the country. We have launched a large $100 billion program so that water can go to every home from a tap, which used to be a luxury once upon a time. Almost 73% of homes in India now have a television set. 100% of the homes, factories, offices have electricity connections, most of them round the clock. Road connection throughout the country has been upgraded with a series of projects expanding a high-speed road network with expressways and freeways, and also village roads connecting the villages to the main highways. The rail network is expanding very rapidly. We've doubled the number of airports in the last 9 years from 74 to 147. Our capacity at the ports has doubled in the last 9 years. We've relaunched inland navigation and inland waterways and expanded capacity in the inland waterway for movement of goods by nearly 4 or 5 times. There's been a renaissance of sorts, a complete transformation of the infrastructure of the country to make logistics seamless, to ensure our cost competitiveness, to give manufacturing an ability to compete with the rest of the world on its own strength and from a position of strength. We've been able to ensure that business processes are re-engineered to make compliances easier, to reduce the number of laws and number of returns, the amount of paperwork that each of the businesses had to do in the past. We've engaged with digital technology at every level of government to make government more honest, to make it easier to do business in India, and to make the lives of the common man much more smooth, much more efficient, much more satisfying. And I say all this because I believe that with the lives of the common man significantly improving, with education levels, healthcare levels significantly getting better, we now have a young population, and we'll continue to have this advantage of a young demography for the next 3 or 4 decades. A young population of aspirational Indians, boys and girls desirous of more, boys and girls wanting to contribute to the Indian economy because they are looking for higher levels of income, they are looking for a better quality of life. More and more women are coming into the workforce. More and more women are contributing to the national economy. With nuclear families, the demand for consumer goods, for durables, for fast-moving products, for ready-to-eat products, for all sorts of consumer and appliances required at home, we have a huge market. And when we look at the Indian market, it's scale that really defines that market, that makes us more competitive. Economies of scale, the willingness to accept high quality manufacturing, a large talent pool of skilled workmen. In fact, I think more and more companies around the world are coming to accept Indians at the helm of affairs. Large multinational companies, Fortune 500 companies, are looking up at Indian CEOs holding high offices, board level positions. We'll soon have a World Bank president from India, of course living in America right now, but with his schooling and college all in India, his early years in professional career in India, he brings a huge amount of knowledge and understanding of a large part of the world which for several years did not have a voice. India today, representing the global south, being the voice of the developing countries, the voice of the less developed countries, has been at the forefront of not only providing for a better life for our people, but also contributing to a better future for people in other parts of the world, particularly in countries which have also been left behind in the development process. We are very committed to our sustainable energy goals. We have a target to have 500 gigawatt of clean energy by 2030. We are promoting manufacturing in several areas, and I have with me several sectors of Indian manufacturing represented here who have come from India, who would be happy to engage with businesses from the sectors that they represent. And I'd like to introduce them to you because that would make it easier for business persons to be able to identify, and maybe the Italian business persons to be able to identify them and connect with them. I have with me Mr. Sanjeev Puri from ITC, the Chairman and Managing Director of ITC, a large company in hotels, in food products, in cigarettes, tobacco industry, in a variety of industry related to engineering, and I'm sure some of the business persons from Italy would like to get an opportunity to work more with him. He's also the Vice President of the Confederation of Indian Industry and leading the business delegation with me. We have Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee, who's the Director General of the Confederation of Indian Industry and spearheads the industry, government and international interface for India. I have Mr. Rajan Bharti Mittal from the telecom industry, running one of the largest telecom companies in India, also into real estate, into the food business. Mr. Sandeep Somani from the ceramic and home goods industry from India. Mr. Narendra Goenka from the textile sector, apparels and other textile products. Mr. Rikant Pitti is my trip, a young startup entrepreneur from the tourism space in India. Dr. Saktivel, he's the chairman of the Federation of Indian Export Organizations, also a self-made entrepreneur from the textile space, but giving leadership to our export efforts. Incidentally, Ambassador, while we did have a record of $676 billion in the year 21-22, we've just closed on 31st March 22-23 with an even bigger record of about $765 billion of export from India. This is a growth from $500 billion 2 years ago to $765 billion in just a span of 2 years. And we hope to go up to $2 trillion of exports of goods and services from India by 2030. So we have ambitious plans, and that's one of the reasons I'm here to engage and meet with all of you from Italy. I have with me Mr. Neeraj Gupta from the defense space. There he is at the back. Neeraj is Managing Director of MKU Limited, one of the largest players in the defense area. We have Mr. Harish Ahuja, one of the largest exporters of garments, apparels, hosiery, yarn, the entire textile chain from India. We have Mr. Jay Shroff, the global CEO of United Phosphorus Limited, UPL Limited. He's into agrochemicals, pesticides, insecticides, and a variety of chemical products with operations in probably nearly 80 or 90 countries around the world. How many? 130? Jeez, 138. Sorry, I lose count. And we have Mr. Marut Sengupta, the Deputy Director General of CII, who also comes with there at the back with long experience in spearheading Indian industry. Friends, India as the G20 presidency articulated the vision of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, translating into the world is one family. We deeply believe that this is not an era of war, this is an era where we all need to work together as one family. We need to work together for the progress of humanity. We need to work together for the betterment of people across the world. And Italy and India share a partnership, a relationship, as Excellency just mentioned, 75 years of wonderful friendship, brotherhood, now translating into a strategic partnership. And I am confident that in our journey of the next 25 years, which we call the Amrit Kal, during which period we hope to take the Indian economy from a $3.5 trillion economy to a $35 trillion economy, so that we can become a developed nation, meeting the aspirations of a large country like India. We believe Italy will be a very good partner, a very good friend through this journey of 25 years. And I have come to Italy to invite all of you to look at trade with India, to look at tourism in India, to look at investments in India, and to work with India to encourage even greater exploitation of the wonderful technologies that have been developed in Italy, which will help us develop manufacturing in India, which will give you an opportunity to encash the large demand that India has to offer. Friends, there are new pathways opening up, new opportunities in India by the day, and I invite all of you to be a part of that growth journey, to be a part of our journey to progress and prosperity. And I am confident that together, businesses in Italy and India can truly transform 1 billion lives in the years to come. Thank you very much for joining me this evening.